I like guitar players that can just lean back and play punk if I want to play punk, or just play classic rock if I want to play classic rock, and then I come out with a double lead solo and they can keep up. Which is why I like Ben, because if you ask him to shred, he can go and shred. If you ask him to get back and be tasty, he can do that, and I really appreciate that. Blads is a great drummer. Rich Battersby was one of my favourite drummers, just because he's a powerhouse, kept the energy up all the way from the first song to the last song. Really powerful drummer. Love Charles, our new drummer. He's another powerhouse who can really hold back, but when you ask him to let loose on those double bass drums, fuck me, it's like hearing a hummingbird's wings mic'd up. I love syncopation. I love really skilled syncopated double kick fills. Really floats all my boats. But Tim Smith gave me a little bit of information, a little bit of advice I've passed on to everyone, and probably haven't passed on to any musicians there. He said, you're not allowed to get ahead of the beat because it makes the drummer sound lazy. And he was absolutely right. And being an old punk, I used to play right on top of the beat, which is acceptable, but you do realise that it sounds frantic. You want it to sound grooving, you want it to sound sexy, get behind the beat. And there's a skill that takes a lot of fucking practice to get right, but hanging behind that beat really is a technique that I appreciate in musicians who have a good drummer in the band. And John Poole's a master of that, playing the bass just behind the beat so it gets right behind that kick. I love that. But there's tons of drum. Terry Bozzio, I love Terry Bozzio. Oh, I could watch that guy playing. I could watch that guy playing in fucking Chili Peppers. I hate Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the few bands I really do hate, like an allergy kind of hate, like I think I'm allergic to them, or maybe it's just the singer. Filthy Animal. I love Filthy Animal. My God, that was the first time I ever heard double bass drums. And I was like, you can't play that fast. No one can play that fast. You'll die. And of course, it's not that fast now when you listen to it. But back then, it was just motorising. If I can remember drummers, I'll probably interject throughout the course of this podcast. But yeah, I do love just great classic rock drummers. Darth Metalis, 1977. Brilliant. I listened to your performance live on Radio 1 when I was 16 in foster care. Oh, well, I'm glad you're fucking doing well, mate. It's a tough upbringing, and I know that you're still around and you're writing to me, so I believe that everything worked out all right for you. So good. Your music was one of the things that helped me get through, so much cheers and gratitude for that. Just as much gratitude coming back my way. Thank you so much. If I could have helped in any fucking way possible, it's an honour. It's worth all of my bad days that went to write the songs if they went to help someone in a good way. I've always wondered, were you wearing the same pair of goggles when you did Caffeine Bomb on Top of the Pops? You probably won't believe this, but the goggles on Top of the Pops and the goggles at Download Festival weren't related in any way. I found the goggles for Caffeine Bomb in the fucking storage room backstage at Top of the Pops. Same as I found the goggles for the Download Festival appearance, somewhere lying on the floor somewhere. I've got no affinity with goggles. I don't know why I wore them. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. And as you all well know now, if I get an idea in my head, I usually run with it before I've had a chance to think about it. Always been the same. Being a kid, someone give a day to do that, and I'd be doing it before I realised this is probably too dangerous to attempt. But yeah, there's no link between the goggles or if I've ever wore them anywhere else. I've done a lot of stupid things in my time, and I hope I continue to do stupid things without a shred of thought in the process. Brett Oldfield says, in hindsight, how poor a decision was it for Hollis to leave Hey Hello? It didn't achieve anything for anyone concerned. Did you see that band as a multi-album project, which would still be going to this day had things been different? Yes. It would have been a multi-album project if Hollis or Victoria had stayed around. Victoria decided that it wasn't going to work because she wanted paid and there was no money, but she's happily married, and hopefully she's happy in her married life and her domestic life, wherever she is. Hollis, on the other hand, decided to leave because England was too cold for her. Now, I think if you're the sort of person that can't hack London because it's too cold, you're probably not tough enough to last in this business. And, invariably, they don't last, and neither did Hollis. She went to move to the warm climes of Los Angeles, where she was just another face in the many, many faces, all vying for supremacy over there. She decided that she was going to, I won't go into too much because it sounds bitchy, but she decided to go there and find some kind of spiritual way of life. And I think if you can't hack a cold place, you're not very spiritual anyway. Long story short, she's not even doing music anymore. She went back to live in Scranton, where she came from, and blew every choice that she had. It was a really bad idea for her to leave Halo to go and pursue something in California. Really ill-advised, and it didn't work for her. It doesn't work for most people. You can be a 10 musically or looks or whatever in England. You go to LA, you're a 5. Don't people know this? Don't compete with Hollywood. All the most beautiful people in the whole world move to Hollywood. The most beautiful people in fucking Scarborough move to London. You've got a chance. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really ill-advised move on her part. And yeah, she did fuck all from that point onwards. And she really left us in the shit with an album that she'd been there and recorded with us and then left after and she knew I was paying for the album myself. And so she, again, we didn't stay friends after that. Now, I hope she's happy with whatever she's doing. I presume it's not music related, because she doesn't really take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to her. Will asks, my question is, what is your favourite song on the Michael Monroe album? I believe you played on that album, if I'm not mistaken. I played and I wrote that album. I will clarify something, because I read in the Sammy Yaffa book that I didn't write the album. Everyone was there. Everyone helped write the album. Okay, let me just give you my take on that. An album is 50% music, 50% lyrics. Every lyric on that album is mine. I believe that if someone's in the room to arrange the song, they get a credit. It was something that Dan Baird instilled in me. He said it's a Nashville way. If you're in the room, you're on the song. Of course, I played guitar on the album because I was in the band. But as far as everyone writing the music, that's not true. That's not true at all. I think anyone who knows my music can hear my little tropes in there. I've got things that I do in songs, and they're all, I shoehorned them into all of those songs. Yeah, there are bits that someone said, can we, try this instead? Or I've got this riff, how about this? Steve Conte is a great writer, and he had a few choruses and bits and pieces like that. But that's a fucking album that was written, okay, 70% of it was written by me. But I'm a songwriter. To say that everyone else helped me write the songs is a bit like me saying I helped Sam Yaffa play the bass. He's a fucking genius bass player. He did it all himself. Whether someone said, why don't you try doing that rock and roll run there? They didn't fucking think of the fucking bass parts. Sam Yaffa, does what he does really, really well. I don't consider Sam Yaffa to be a songwriter, because he doesn't write songs. He doesn't make solo albums. He's made solo albums, and listen to the lyrics on Sammy's songs and you can tell that it's not the same guy who wrote the Michael Monroe songs. Not saying that I'm not a fan of corny lyrics. I love corny lyrics, but it's pretty obvious those lyrics are written by me, because they sound like my fucking lyrics. I'm not blowing smoke up my arse. I just know that I'm a songwriter, and if someone wants me to join the band to write songs, I didn't need a committee to do it. My favourite song from that album, I'm not quite sure what songs are on that album. It's a few albums under the bridge, but I really like 78. I like the rhyming couplets. You can take the boy out of 78. The style's going to change, but the sentiment ain't. You can't take 78 out of the boy. That's a nice little rhyming couplet I like, and it's got a nice little screw in there that gets into your head and stays there. So I would say that one. Or Trick of the Wrist. I like Trick of the Wrist because I went to see Iggy play with the Stooges when we were in New York, and he started the set with Raw Power, and it was just silence, no intro tape, nothing. They just came on and kicked into Raw Power, which is da 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 da, and I was just like, oh, we've got to have a song like that. And that's where the song Trick of the Wrist. When I say I'm a songwriter, it doesn't mean to say I don't fucking get inspiration from people, and a lot of my ideas come from other people's songs. Not the idea itself, but the inspiration to write it, or the impetus to write it. The inspiration comes from different places. Yeah, not blow my own trumpet. I know my strengths and I know my worths. And if someone tries to undermine that worth, I see it as an indication of their insecurity in the field of where I get good. You never compare a fish his ability to climb a tree like a monkey. The end. But yeah, 78 or Trick of the Wrist. Steve Coyne, talking about Conti. Steve Coyne, in 1986, I was watching Auf Wiedersehen Pet. Oz covered a Merle Haggard song, I Can't Be Myself. It started my love of country. Have you found a band or artist or genre via any surprising way? All of them are surprising ways, I think. I fall in love with music hard and deep. It's just like, I feel like I'm a sort of person that has a lot of partners, but my partners are bands, and specifically certain records. And it's good because you're not being unfaithful to anyone and you don't catch anything nasty. All of the bands and records I've ever loved have been a surprise. They've come from, just listening to something on Spotify and something randomly comes along. I was in a band when I first came to London called Peter Panic, and they wanted to take me along to see his band Cardiacs, and I was like, it just doesn't sound like something, they describe them this, I was like, real, like jazz. I'm like, jazz? You're going to take me? I'm a fucking young guy. I want to go out and fucking do speed and watch punk. And he dragged me along to Cardiacs. It was a slow night. I had no money. He was going to buy me some drinks and he wanted some company. And I don't know if I've even got the vocabulary to describe the effect that seeing Cardiacs for the first time had on me. But it changed my whole fucking world. Ramones, I've got a moving frame here and a picture of Ramones came up. And Ramones was just a guy in a record shop saw that I looked a bit like a Ramone. I didn't even know who they were. Give me an album and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And if I just had different clothes on that day, I wouldn't have got to hear them. I think it's the same for every single thing. I got into Kiss because I moved schools a lot. And the only consistent thing with the schools were the fact that you had to have a fight with the school bully on the first day, which was rotten, and the fact that they used to put artwork up on the walls, and all the artists in school invariably drew pictures of bands and album covers. These pictures of Kiss that seemed to follow me around as the happy yin to the unhappy yang of having to stand up to the school bully so the rest of the term wouldn't be miserable. So yeah, I think all music comes from surprising places, and a lot of stuff has come from TV shows and movies. I love that. I love the fact that just like Partners, you can be looking in all the pubs and clubs that people normally go to, and invariably you'll meet them shopping for a loaf of bread in the shop looking like shit. And I think music finds you in a very similar way. This is a question from Wiggy, and I'm being shown a picture of an amazing vehicle with all of the cartoons, the Hunt Emerson cartoons from Earth versus the Wildhearts on it. And he's called it Nina Nitro, as in Nina, Nina. Very, very good, Wiggy. I christened it Nina. What's the weirdest thing a fan has done in respect of you or the band? And is this one up there? This one is very much up there. I have to say, you lot do some fucking amazing things in respect of the band. There was a guy who changed his name legally to Ginger Wildheart. I only found out because people kept going like, what's this hit and run thing that you did the other day? I thought more of you or whatever. It was this guy who changed his name to Ginger Wildheart and ran over someone in his car. It was brilliant. But the guy changed his name and realised that I'm called Ginger Wildheart, and even give me his official email address. So he's a lovely fucking fella as far as anyone who runs people over in their car is concerned. People have done all sorts of mad things with the Wildhearts. Tattoos are probably the one. You've got people with fucking huge Wildheart tattoos. That always gets me. Not that I'm encouraging you to go out and get Wildheart tattoos, but it is really flattering when they get a piece of art on their body, and it's not a small piece of art, it's a fucking big one, and it's there for life. Someone told me something the other day that there's a lot of great bands there with a lot of great fan bases, but not all those bands are people's favourite. And the one thing I really, really give gratitude to about all the time is the fact that the Wildhearts are a lot of people's favourite bands. And things like this, the fucking Ambulance, and there's tons of them I can't think of at the moment, but there's been tons of crazy people naming the kids after songs and stuff like that. That's for life. Actually, the weirdest thing people do is fucking meet a Wildhearts gigs, get married and have a kid, and the kid's a fucking Wildhearts fan. It's a lovely weird, but it's kind of weird. But I love the fact that because the Wildhearts are a lot of people's favourite group, that you do this sort of thing and you don't mind that it's something for life, like a tattoo or a child being called fucking, Nita Nitro or whatever. I feel bad now because I can't remember the specific names that people have named the kids after songs that I've written. But yeah, the fact that you guys are so hardcore I mentioned earlier on that I'm really thankful, always give gratitude to the fact that you support me in whatever I do. Sometimes sight unseen or sound unheard. You just support me in my endeavours and then fortunately like what I do with your money. That has been a life raft in a sea of bullshit. Let me tell you, the fucking music industry probably is the most corrupt industry going there. It's run by people who have no interest in music, and the people that they fleece are the makers of music and the lover of music, namely you. We're always the one that gets shafted by these fucking huge corporate motherfuckers. So I love that you hate that as well, and you bypass that, and you support the independent endeavours that I do, and you're happy with the results, so you do it the next time. Yeah, tons and tons of mad fucking things that you lot do because you're fucking mad. Tommy Heat 79, Keyte, Katie? Keat. I'm pronouncing it Keat. Tommy Keat 79 asks, tell us 10 songs by bands or artists that you don't like. Well, for one, I can't think of 10 anything off the top of my head. I can think of probably 100 or one. Specifying 10 anythings would take me a week to compile. Two, I don't like to talk trash about other artists. And I know I'm going to about a certain artist, but it's not just trash. I believe that if it's a song I hate, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, I can't stand Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's a famous Nick Cave quote. Whenever he says, whenever I hear anything terrible on the radio, I say, what is this shit? And the answer is always Red Hot Chili Peppers. I just think there's no worth in their music, call it music, especially the lyrics, but also that they just ripped off Fishbone and didn't help Fishbone along the way. And also a bunch of other things I've heard about Anthony Kiedis. He's fucking my age and he's got a 17-year-old girlfriend. What the fuck has anyone my age got in common with a 17-year-old apart from fucking? Anyway, personally speaking, I can't name 10 bands or artists that I don't like, because even if I could, I wouldn't, because it's only my personal taste. And anything that I don't like floats someone's day. And if it helps someone else, music is sacred. It's medicinal. So yeah, whatever you don't like, it really doesn't matter because it's fucking probably saved someone else's life.